After showing two beautiful slides of our university, I explained the situation in which this use of PBworks takes place. So there are well over 5,000 students, maybe 7,000, with some 22 or 25 teachers. The mark for English is very important. It has the same weight as the mark for other subjects, their maths or their biology. And since we have only 24 hours with these people, we didn't want the lessons to be all about exams, because the people who come in with just 24 hours change in their English, it was not going to make a big difference. So we introduced these reflective learning course logs as 60% of the mark. So for many years, the students already had to write why we did what we did in class and what did they learn. And this was obligatory and a big part of their mark. Then I went to the Electronic Village online, where especially Carla Arena and Gladys Bayer had a tremendous influence on my first contact with the Electronic Village online. Jen Verschaw was also one of the moderators and was absolutely great. That first session was called Blogging for Beginners, and we really were all starting at the same point together. But we already had webcasts, even in those days. Then, when this extremely strong M1 group came to class, of the type, why should we have English lessons? We know all about English. I changed that reflective course log to a blog. Then, although those people who were good at English, we could all play with these blogs together, it was before the web was localized, so just using the blog was good practice in English. Everything was in English at that time, just not quite 10 years ago. But I realized that not all the students could do that. And what took me to PBworks especially was that it was very easy to make the workspace private, so that I could have this online space which only my students could see. And an advantage of PBworks is that you can change that privacy at any time by going to the settings, as you can see here, and changing the access to your space. So that very first wiki which I created for use with a class was not very interactive. Each student created a page and added the vocabulary they corrected. Okay, 5 words a week, add your vocabulary. And I used it as a bulletin board for each class. Although I tried to be more adventurous at that time, doing things like embedding a voice thread, the students were not in any way aware of the potential of the web. It was, as I say, almost 10 years ago, so that didn't really work. This just showed that after that first experience, I invariably made a wiki with my classes. So the point is, and I said that what there is not in quality, there is in quantity, because this 24 hours was very quickly passed. And the organization I arrived at was to have one wiki for 2 classes. The 2 classes, the people in the class made their own private wiki, and we shared this one where it was easy to put things for the class to see. And what I found was very important was that the students had really clear instructions at the beginning of those 24 hours. We would spend about 1 hour on making and understanding the wiki, and they had a checklist, And all the time there are these marks. You do this, 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 and you get your mark. So it's a really not a very nice way of going about things, but what I want to say is that with very clear instructions, the students had no trouble at all with these manipulations of the wiki, the sort of thing which you've been doing, putting the text and uploading a picture. The first time is difficult, but you do it again and again, and it becomes, I mean, like any learning, okay? Then the really important thing was this close contact between the classroom and the wiki. So all the time when I corrected the wikis, I would make notes on the paper, on a class list, and then take that into the class so that it wasn't this distant thing which they did or didn't do at home, but on the contrary, when they come into class, I'd say, okay, what work have you been doing on your wiki space? At first, I was just saying, what work have you been doing? Then, the way these guys work, I added a mark each time. And then I'd say, okay, yeah, but that's 0, but it's not a problem. It can change. You just have to do what we agreed. And bing, bing, everyone was really using it because of this obligation. So fundamentally, the lessons went on as usual, but having the wiki there made it easy to post multimedia, Google Docs. They could do oral homework and put it on their private space, which was their continual assessment space. And the unexpected advantage I discovered was this really easy correction of written work. So you know that when you click on edit on the wiki page, you can just overwrite whatever. You can change the text on the page. And you also have this box at the bottom to describe the changes you have made to the page. So I would correct the text which was written in English, and the resulting, so by simply correcting, overwriting, no other manipulation than just correcting what was written, the students get the page like this. So it's quite clear what has been crossed out and what has been replaced. And they would get this in their email because I use the function share this page. So you want to click on that and have a look at it. It's available for everyone. It's quite fun. So it says you can send that page to one person, which I did for the homework, or with one click, you can send it to all of the members of the workspace. Now, the fact that we use this function, share this page, and the students receive the email into their inbox meant that they were not overwhelmed with email alerts from the wiki, because I asked them all to set their notification to do not receive notifications. So even though they do not receive automatic notifications, if they are a member of the workspace, they receive an email when someone uses the function share this page. And you remember, of course, that while changing the writing, there was also this possibility of describe your changes. Now, any repetitive grammar mistake on the page, I would write a note about and give them a link to a grammar page. We'll see that again in a minute. Now, there is one essential function on a wiki, and that is the page history. When you click page history, you can see all the previous versions and you can compare two versions. And you can see here that anything written in that comment box at the bottom can be seen on the page history page. So I built up a list of all of the common mistakes from the BBC, from the British Council site, the BBC Learning English, etc. I have a list of grammar points with explanations and exercises, and then the student would see his mistake in the corrections and have one-click access to an explanation. So that was one really positive point. And the other really positive point was that before correcting the mistake, I would copy and paste the mistake into a Word document. So there would be mistakes from everyone in the group, which are anonymous here, of course, but they will have already had that corrected on their wiki page. So this list of corrections from the mistakes from the students in the Word doc, I would take it into class, and the students together had to correct this page of mistakes. And it was just wonderful how they all got totally fed up with people putting an S on information, people not using the past tense, all of the things which teachers are always complaining about. With this system, the students were complaining about it. So in those 24 hours, they really did have a good look at quite a lot of grammar. So basically, to sum up, my system was to have the shared wiki. 2 students would be assigned each week to write up the lesson. What did we do? Anyone could make corrections on that shared wiki. Then, as I said, they would each have their individual wiki in which they had to write this reflection, which I spoke about at the beginning. Why did we do that? What did I learn? Their page of vocabulary, and any oral work I had requested, like photo bubble, etc. And as I said at the beginning, the important thing was to correct this on paper, the comment on paper, and take it into class. So once the wiki system is all set up, then the possibility was endless. And I think that is really not the point of this. So to keep it short, I will stop there and be very, very happy to answer any questions.